Hi, my name's Dr. Robin. I'm a research scientist who loves to travel. I dreamed about going to Alaska since I was 10. Finally, I told myself if I were going to make it happen, I'd need to put a date, and that date would be the year that I turned 50. Originally, I was going to drive, but my plans didn't quite work out that way, so instead, I decided to do something different, which was to take an Alaska vacation that involved as little car travel as possible. My day started bright and early. I had to leave the house at, I think, 5:30 to make it to the airport and drop off my car at the long-term parking lot and check my bag so I could catch the first flight of the morning to Fairbanks. I made it! I'm in Alaska. Oh my gosh. At this point, future Robin has to pause the video and make a note that you will see a lot of video of me walking in Fairbanks. I specifically chose the place that I was staying to be close to a bus line, but what I didn't realize until much later is that the bus doesn't run on Saturday and Sunday. Guess which days I was in Fairbanks? Yeah, I walked almost everywhere. So the first order of business after checking into the place I'm staying is to go visit the farmer's market, which happens to be just a couple blocks away. Okay, it's just under 2 miles here, and you know, one of those things when you get walking directions on Google, it like draws the line, but it doesn't necessarily tell you, you know, it's like turn here. Yeah, it just looked like a straight line going into the campus of University of Alaska at Fairbanks. Yeah, it's stairs. It's totally stairs. Okay, but this is good. My taxi driver told me that the good thing about the campus being up on a hill is that you can see a long, long way. So I just finished up at the Museum of the North, which is on the University of Alaska Fairbanks campus. Really love that museum. It's a great museum. It's a combination of cultural artifacts and natural history stuff and art, which I love native art. It's just, I mean, some of it is more modern, but I really love looking at native art. And my plan after this was to go down to the botanical gardens, which is basically like a mile down this road, but I'm tired. At this point, I just started talking. I was talking about how I was gonna get food without a car or bus because I was a long way from any grocery store, and I yacked for a long time. And I just want to point out that here I am talking, and then all of a sudden I noticed something. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you can hear that. Some drumming, some native drumming. I should go find that. So this alone is worth not having a car for. If I'd had a car, come out of the Museum of the North, I would have gotten in my car and I would have driven away. I would never have known this all was here. But because I was walking, I heard the sound of the drums. And I love this stuff. It hits me right here. Totally worth it to not have a car. This is not something I would have driven by in the car either. I'm just gonna stay here and listen for a while. As day one comes to a close, I kind of want to talk about stuff. So my original idea was most of my stuff would go either in my backpacking backpack or it would be strapped on the outside like my sleeping bag, and I would get that up to Alaska by putting it in this duffel bag. As it turns out, if I put the entire backpack with the sleeping bag strapped on the outside into this duffel bag, I could not zip it. So I had to rearrange things. And then I ran into another problem. So I've been very careful about weight. Because I didn't want to go over the airplane weight limit. I think the whole bag was only about 30 pounds, which is fine because you just have to keep it under 50. But there is also an oversized charge. So if your total bag dimensions are over 60 inches, it's like $100 charge. So no, I wasn't going to pay that. And so you could see that what I had to do was keep taking stuff out. And I even had to like tie my duffel bag so that it stayed just under the 60-inch dimensional limit. But even then, it wouldn't all fit in the duffel bag. So I had to put some of the stuff into this reusable grocery bag. The reason I picked a reusable grocery bag and not something a little better is that I wanted something that would fold up and stuff inside my backpack really easy when I got to the other side. And then, of course, I also had my day pack. My original idea was I would just have the backpacking backpack and my day pack. But as you can see, it didn't quite work that way. So I did just check the one bag, which because I have an Alaska Airlines visa, I can check one bag for free. And there was no overweight limit. And then I had my day pack, which ended up going in the overhead bin, and then this grocery bag, which went under the seat. So that was a lot more stuff than I wanted, and you will see when we get to next week's video how that started to make things a little difficult for me. Today is really quite different than yesterday in that it's raining. Not too hard. So my plan for today was originally to walk into downtown Fairbanks and maybe do some stuff. It's quite a walk. When I got to the hostel, I discovered that they have bikes that you can borrow. So my next plan was to borrow a bike and bike into downtown Fairbanks. But then I woke up and it was raining. And the only rain gear I have is this poncho, this Frog Togs poncho. Because, you know, I had to limit what I could bring. I could only bring one rain jacket or rain thing. And I chose to bring the poncho because if I'm out hiking in Denali and it's raining, which it is supposed to rain while I'm in Denali, this would go over my backpack, right? Keep my backpack dry. And that's kind of important because I've got camera gear. So I figured this would be it. Well, this is not really conducive to biking in. So then I had a choice of, do I bike in the rain and get wet, or do I walk? So I'm walking. I think I'm going to walk there and then walk to the next thing I'm going to do, which is go to a real grocery store since I did not get to do that yesterday. And then I'm going to Uber or something back to the hostel. I'm about halfway there. I looked over on the other side of the road and I saw this wildlife refuge. And it has, importantly, covered place to sit. And I was like, yeah, I'll take that. I told you I was going to have issues with not having a car. This is one of them. Well, I finally made it to downtown Fairbanks. I poked around a bit, but maybe not as much as I would like to because I was already pretty tired and I knew I still had a long way to walk. So I stopped off at the Fairbanks Ice Museum. Now, I know this is not everyone's cup of tea, but I really like supporting local artists, and let's face it, this is definitely some amazing art. Also, they have this ice slide, which is pretty dang cool.
Okay, start, action! Come on.
Let's watch that again, just for grins, from a different angle. So I just left the Ice Museum, kind of looked around downtown Fairbanks. And you know, I like Fairbanks as a city, but the real thing is I don't go on vacation to go to cities. Like, I'm just not naturally a city person. And even though Fairbanks is, feels like a small town because it feels like everyone knows everybody, it's still in town. And that's not what I want. I think I can't wait to get out of it. Can't wait to get out to the wilderness. So I am walking along the Riverwalk and I'm enjoying myself. So from there I went up to a grocery store, made sure I had everything I needed for the next few days, and you'll understand why when we get to those videos over the next couple of weeks. And then I walked home. I did not actually get an Uber. As we close out this video on my first 2 days in Alaska, I want to do a little bit of accounting. First of all, how well did I do on my car-free pledge? Well, there is no really good way to get up to Seattle Airport that early in the morning, so I did have to drive. And also, without the bus, there was no good way to get from the airport to the hostel, so I also took a taxi for that. But otherwise, I walked everywhere, and I think I did pretty well. Also, I'm sure everyone is wondering how much I spent, and I kind of cheated because I used airline miles, of which I had quite a few, so I didn't really pay much for the airfare. Also, I stayed in a hostel, which kept the cost down. Overall, these were definitely not the most expensive days of the vacation. They also were not the cheapest either. Coming up next week, I leave Fairbanks to go into the wilderness, and of course I do not use a car. So subscribe if you want to see more of Robin's car-free Alaska vacation.